welcome to another episode of Queen City Unleashed. I am Shea Alushina, and today I have with me Clayton Sealey, the Senior Director of Marketing Communications at the Mint, where we are, which is so cool to be able to shoot here and honor. Also the owner of CLT Development, and honestly, from everything I know, probably one of Charlotte's biggest cheerleaders. Clayton, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to have you in the Mint. Not everyone gets to come in here on a Monday.
I will tell you, when I threw it out there for a location, I'm like, and we try to shoot on site, so the Mint, and when you were like, we could maybe make that work, I was like, yes, because this is just, this is an iconic building here in our city, right in the heart of it, and so to be able to shoot here is super, super cool. So I really appreciate it. But as a native, I do have a question for you. We have, Charlotte's made up, as people say, like neighborhoods. You've got Noda, Plaza Midwood, South End, Wesley Heights, even going out to Ballantyne's, Matthews. Charlotte's full of different neighborhoods. If you were to describe yourself, your personality, who Clayton is, by the different neighborhoods, how would you describe yourself?
It's got to be, so I'm also a native, born and bred, left Charlotte for a little bit, now I'm back, but it's got to be the neighborhood that I live in right now, which is Noda.
Okay.
I've always really related to Noda. I grew up playing punk rock shows in Noda. I was always an artsy kid, a musician, and I love urbanism and I love the built environment. And there's nowhere else in Charlotte that's quite like Noda. And I feel like there's not very many people that are quite like me.
I like that. An individual in a very unique neighborhood. A unique individual in a unique neighborhood.
Absolutely.
I tell people when they ask about Noda, I'm like, it's kind of like our own little mini Asheville. Like, it's just a slice of what it's like. But I do think that is, I wasn't sure what I was going to get from you asking that question, but I do like that answer a lot. For me, I don't think I would say mine is a neighborhood. We live on the west side, and I don't think that'd be it. I think there is something, I do like visiting Plaza Midwood, because the pace seems like energetic, but it's not South End crazy.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, it's kind of regular. There's nothing like super over the top about it, but it doesn't suck. And it's like, it's nice and people enjoy themselves there. And I feel like probably right now, and then occasionally I probably get a little bit of the South End buzz when I've got a lot of energy and like kind of feel young again. But for the most part, it would be a little more of or Elizabeth. I do like Elizabeth neighborhood. That also to me has that Elizabeth and the Plaza Midwood has a really good pace for.
I also have a soft spot in my heart for Dilworth.
Okay.
I just love walking down Worthington and seeing all those, turn of the century homes and seeing what Charlotte was before we started going into that 60s, build it, only for cars mode.
Yep.
And I like the energy of it as well. But when it comes to Charlotte, it's all about the energy, the walkability, the culture, being able to be places where other artists are. That's what's important.
When we first moved to Charlotte 5 years ago, we lived by the Publix in South End. And so my wife and I, it's COVID, so there's not much you could do. So we would actually walk into Dilworth a lot. So we'd get back into those neighborhoods and let's take this road and have we taken this one before or this connects? And looking at some of the homes back there in the neighborhoods are just it was so cool. You could see a lot of the history in the homes. Now they're knocking some of them down and throwing up these LA looking style homes, which I'm sure you're a big fan of. But they're throwing those up now and it's you see historic home, a classic home, and then okay, all right, that's not necessary. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy walking that neighborhood. I don't know if I could ever afford to live there, but it's a nice neighborhood to walk through. As a Charlotte native and one of Charlotte's biggest cheerleaders, if you were to build a billboard that was pitching people on why they should come to Charlotte, I'm seeing a lot of conversation on Charlotte's boring, Charlotte's food sucks, which I highly disagree with because as someone who's been here for 5 years, it didn't take me a year to figure out that there's enough stuff to do. And that was in COVID.
Yeah.
And the food, you just can't be eaten anywhere, but there's lots of good food here. What would be on Clayton's billboard of why you should come to Charlotte?
Honestly, it's got to be Charlotte is Charlotte. Push comes to shove, you see on social media people comparing us to this, calling us mini Atlanta, saying to be Houston, looking at New York, looking at Chicago, and Charlotte is Charlotte. it's what we have. It's what's acceptable. It's what is awesome. I mean, our cultural scene is burgeoning. I mean, last Wednesday, I was standing right here for a fashion show at the Mint
Yeah.
in collaboration with Davita Galloway. Every single hour we had a different fashion show about the 70s, 80s, and 90s. There's something that you can find any part of Charlotte at any time. You just got to know where to look. There are hidden gems here, but like Charlotte is Charlotte, and that's what people need to understand. We are, this is a blank slate. That's why I love living here, because you can create your own culture here. You can make an impact, even if you're just like a little guy.
Yep. That is, you said that very well. That's one of the things I appreciate, that because so many people are moving here, there's not this large group of somebodies who run the city, which I think is unique, because if you go to these big cities, there is a lot of you have to know somebody, or because you get invited to this, because so many of the things you're doing, like that show that you talked about last Wednesday, I was here for FOMO earlier this year. It's just a whole bunch of people out having fun, and it's not just those things, but so many other things where you don't have to know somebody to go have a good time, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be fun. Some of these things are $10, $15, so and you're having a ball. And you're right, we are not any of those cities. I don't want to be Atlanta. I don't want to be Austin, even though I really enjoy Austin. I don't want to be Austin. And I don't want to be DC or New York, but it's a city where, like you said, anybody can come in. If I live in New York, I don't think I'm doing a podcast like this.
No.
I don't think there are a lot of artists who are taking the risk, or entrepreneurs who are taking the risk to say, you know what, I'm going to go out and do this just because, it's a new city and I can. I think we all that's where you stick to what you know, you find your few friends, and that's kind of what you make of your life in those cities. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and people complain about gatekeeping in Charlotte, and it does happen a little bit, but they should try living in New York, where the gates are so high that you could never climb them.
Or afford to get up there.
Exactly. Even if there are gates here, they're 6 feet tall. You can jump over them with a little bit of effort and find out what's
Some
behind
teamwork.
them. Yeah, I mean, in New York, if you make it here, you can make it anywhere. But that's because making it there is so hard. And I was successful in New York, but I was never able to make a name for myself and be able to find out who the movers and shakers are. Here, you can just call somebody that is influential in the community, and I'd say 8 times out of 10, you can get coffee with them.
Yeah. People are very, I feel like people are very accessible. And if you see them out and about, they're very normal people. It's not like a lot of people. I don't and maybe in 5 years, I just haven't seen it. But our athletes, our pro athletes, even, I don't feel like I see them much when they're not playing their sport. So then, we don't have this society of celebrity elites, if you will, that I feel gives us more of a commonality, that we're all just people doing our own thing, finding our own art, our own hobbies. Yeah. So speaking of hobbies, though, what are some of yours? What are things that you enjoy doing in Charlotte?
My number one hobby is I grow a lot of my own food. So my wife and I are urban farmers.
Okay.
We grow anywhere between 50 and 70 different things at a time, including different varieties of tomatoes, peppers, things like that. Most of my hobbies outside of that are civic oriented.
Okay.
I'm on the NODA Neighborhood Business Association as the president of the Business Council. I'm on the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Planning Commission as a planning committee member.
Okay.
I am doing a lot of transit advocacy on the side. I'm about to launch a podcast with my friend Tesho Akindele.
Okay.
At some point, I'm going to get back into home brewing. We'll see if I can carve out some time.
Were you a COVID home brewer?
I actually wasn't. I was a home brewer maybe 10 years ago.
Oh.
I had a really cool apartment in Brooklyn that had a really big closet underneath the staircase, and I started homebrewing in there, and I got pretty good. But then we bought a place, and we were too afraid that things would explode in a new nice place in Brooklyn, so I stopped homebrewing.
Okay. When it became yours, you took a little more less risk there.
Yeah.
Okay. You said something real quick about growing your own food.
Yeah.
I wish you hadn't, because now I'm worried my wife is going to be like, see. And I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, the outskirts of Richmond. And so about 45 minutes from the city. And so we lived on a little bit of land, and my
Hmm.
dad got in his head that we also needed to grow our own food. Well, as the oldest and also the oldest son, his farm or little garden, large garden, turned into my responsibility that prevented me from having the fun that I wanted. So there are a lot of Saturdays of, yes, I went to go play my soccer game, then I'm right back into the garden, planting corn on my knees, digging a 3 by 3 hole into the ground for an apple tree that we never saw anything from, planting grapes and spinach and collards and all sorts of things. And so when people are like, oh, a garden's so fun, like connect with it, you grow your own food, I'm like, I did it. I hated it. I don't think it's not something I want to do, like at all. But I love it for you. Now I'm just worried my wife's gonna be like, see, there's somebody else who's
I mean, it all starts small. I mean, the first time we started gardening was in Brooklyn on a fire escape. And we used to get in so much trouble. And then instead of removing the garden, I just became good friends with my super. And then he's like, all right, you can keep doing that.
I like the way you think. I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing, but like maybe give them a few veggies here and
Hmm.
there. Okay. I will say the one thing that my wife has started planting off our balcony, off the kitchen, is like doing like little herbs. So like basil. Um, Basil's the one I pay attention to. I forget what the other ones are, but she's got like two or three. And then we'll be eating dinner. She's like, I pulled this basil from our little, and so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like that's low
The
maintenance.
fruits of your labor is what's so fulfilling about it.
The fruits of the labor I believe in.
Hmm.
I worked hard, I made the money, and I bought the food. That is also the fruits of my labor. And that's just more of where I'm at this point in my life.
Hmm.
We'll see. Maybe I want to, it's not likely, but
Hmm.
maybe. If I do, I'll give you a call, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Being here as long as you have, what are some of the best staple Charlotte restaurants? And I say
Hmm.
staple because there are a lot of cool new places that pop up that are like, oh, this is new. They've been open for 6 months or a year, and they've got a lot of buzz around them.
Hmm.
But I won't quite say institutional, but the ones that have been here a long time, good old faithful. What are some of your favorites in Charlotte?
Pinkies for sure.
Yes, their banana
Um,
pudding is incredible.
yeah, it is.
I go and I'm like, my wife's like, every time I'm like, yes, this banana pudding is great. Why not?
And I'll have a hot take around it just because
Ooh,
Penguin is kind of where I grew up, where I cut my teeth kind of as a as a teenager, as a young adult. And Pinky's is the management of the original Penguin, unlike the Penguin that is on East Boulevard. So
oh,
Pinky's is
is
where you
penguin.
go to get a little taste of what was. So
Ah,
Pinky's, and then I love Providence Sundries, right on Providence Road, just like inside Myers Park.
okay. I've not
Um,
heard of that one before.
no, it's good.
What kind of food is that?
It's kind of just like a bar food, like
Okay.
burgers, stuff like that. Workman's Friend is
Yes.
one of my favorite. It looks like it's been there for 200 years, but it opened in 2015, and you would never know.
So they built it that way.
They built it that way. So, like the
Huh.
places in Charlotte, like Alexander Michaels,
Yes.
the places where it takes you back in time to something but it's no frills. Like people say beef and bottle, but I can make a better steak than that at home.
Clayton,
Yeah.
you might have become my new best friend. I get in trouble for this take, and it's not a shot. And like one thing that we try to do, especially for businesses, because like that's an institution in Charlotte, and I
Hmm.
understand it, and I'm not here to bash on them. But I took my wife, I'm like, hey, I'm taking you to Beef and Bottle for your birthday, because everyone's like, Charlotte staple. And we both ate our steak, and I don't even think I make the greatest steak, but I'm like, I know we have eaten better steak in our home
Hmm.
than this $55 piece of steak we paid for. And everyone is like, no, you're crazy. And finally, this is a Charlotte native. I just want to say, Clayton's from Charlotte. Like, he's an OG. He also agrees with me. So I feel validated in this sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, steak is one of those things that's so accessible at home. It can be expensive, of course, but like with a little bit of love, with the right amount of heat, with the right amount of seasonings, you can make a great steak. I like to go to the places that I'm not necessarily going to be able to replicate. Like, I love Lang Van, too. That is an absolute staple Vietnamese restaurant
Okay?
off Shamrock
I've heard of it. Yes, I've
and
heard of it.
Eastway-ish. It is absolutely astoundingly good. I try to gravitate towards the places that are from other cultures
Okay.
that I'm not necessarily going to be making. So I have, there's not a OG by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, he just moved here like 2 years ago. But Chutney Cat from Dearborn, Michigan. Um, One of my good friends, Arjun, opened it. It's some of the best food you've ever had in your life.
Well, now I have to go because I am originally born in Michigan,
Oh,
so I have to go support just for that reason, and it's probably really good food.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think other staples in the city that people. Alexander Mike's, another guest told us, two guests actually told us early on. They're like, you have to go. That is like a staple, and we went, and we're like, this feels hole in the wallish, but the food was really good and like really enjoyable. And so
Yeah.
I think it's cool to be able to. I love a lot of the new places, but the staples I feel like need the love, and
Yeah.
people like go to the new flashy thing, and sometimes they're around a long time and sometimes they're not. But like Pinkies and Al Mike's, and like these are places that have been around a long time that deserve their respect. Sticking with the topic of food,
Okay.
if Charlotte had to be known for a food item, what do you think it is? My wife and I have an idea what we think it is. What would you say is Charlotte's food item?
So I'm going to get canceled by all of Charlotte natives right now, but I've never had liver mush, so I can't say liver mush. Just the word liver and
Hey,
mush
no thanks.
together
No
never
thanks.
really sounded like something
No thanks.
I could ever try. I will one day maybe. But to me, I mean, it's got to be looking back in time to diners, drive-ins, and dives when they came in here and introduced the world to fried pickles.
Really?
Yeah. It's not barbecue for me. It's fried pickles.
This is very interesting.
Indeed.
Okay, explain more though. Not just where were these fried pickles on the show?
They were at the Penguin, at the original
Okay.
Penguin. They were either at the Penguin or, gosh, what's the other place called down the street? I can't even place it. But yeah, they were at the Penguin, and they introduced the world to both pimento cheese and fried pickles.
Interesting. I think I struggle with that a little because I hate pickles.
Okay.
Like passionately hate them. Like on the list of things I don't like, pickles, cats, somewhere in the top 5, both. Our answer is the chicken sandwich.
Okay.
Because I
see
feel
that.
like a lot of places in Charlotte have their variation of a chicken sandwich.
Well, I think that was a trend that came around about 5 years ago. But the funny thing is when we moved back to Charlotte, I was coveting a chicken sandwich. And honestly, when we lived in Brooklyn, like I was always trying to find the best chicken sandwich as well. So
Okay.
that's one of the things I go out of my way for. So.
Well, then you can't just say that and leave me hanging. What are some of your best chicken sandwiches?
Oh man, Surefire Kitchen at Camp North End. I think they
Okay.
have my best fried chicken sandwich right now. And then across the street from that, Hex Coffee. My very good friend Chandler owns it. They have a marvelous chicken sandwich.
coffee
as well.
shop?
The coffee shop.
Has a great chicken sandwich.
Yes, they do kind
Huh.
of like Japanese, Hawaiian fusion, and a little bit of a southern feel. Chandler's from Charlotte, so like he's trying to keep it very local but very international at the same time. But they have a great fried chicken sandwich as well. And honestly, but after that, it was Katsu Cart, but that is now Dozo, I think it's called. So
You know so many places.
Yeah,
My
there's-
mind is kind of blown right now. You're just rattling off these places. I'm like, I like to think I get out and know things, but the one that I say is a sleeper chicken sandwich is Suffolk Punch.
that is a good one.
I was surprised one day we were out with friends and it was late, and I was like, I'll just take the chicken sandwich. And I'm tired, and I'm like, I really want to be home. I took the first bite and then looked at my wife and was like, hey, this is really good. Like, this is a very good chicken sandwich. So Suffolk Punch is definitely one that I say is really good. And then, yeah, I'd probably say that's my favorite. If I'm going like, that's not like fast food-ish.
Well, you need to try Surefire.
Surefire, Cape
Yeah.
North End.
Yep,
Okay.
Camp North End. It is now in the Leigh and Louise space.
Okay,
They
yeah.
were the food truck that replaced Katsu Cart over at Hopfly. So they're there for a little bit, and then Surefire was in Rock Hill before that. They had a bodega where they were serving burgers and fried chicken sandwiches. So now the one at Camp North End is eventually going to become kind of like a food market,
Okay.
plus like a lunch and dinner counter. I think they're open till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Charlotte needs more late eats. I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that we're missing. Like we need places that are open later that's actual good and not running around the city trying to find the one random food truck that's still open. But I do think because sometimes it's 10 o'clock and you want a good quality meal, and I know you probably missed that from New York. That like
a
at
little
New
bit.
York you could still go get like a good bite at 10:30 if you really wanted to.
Absolutely.
And here it's like cookout.
Yeah, that's it.
That-
Sometimes, yeah.
That's about
And
it.
I think pre-COVID there was so much more of it.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like Harris Teeter's used to be open 24 hours. So many more places.
Here's Teeter?
Yeah, so many more places pre-COVID had like late night hours, and I feel like a lot of the people that used to work those hours, they work at Amazon now,
Man.
and places like that, places that were more stable, a little less
Yeah.
chaotic. Because like I worked food service for years, it's a chaotic job and it is hard.
I did my years at I'll call it a bid at a Chick-fil-A back in the day in
Oh,
high
yeah?
school. A lot of my pleasures to people who didn't deserve it, but taught me hospitality. I will say that. Okay, I don't ask this question often because I think a lot of people like to give hot takes for the sake of giving a hot take, but I feel like your thoughts will be very educated and informed because you know way too much about the city. What are some things Charlotte needs more of, and some things that we need less of?
More of and less of. We need more people, sticking their neck out for the community. We need more people to go out and, Raleigh just opened this incredible playground in Dorothea Dix Park.
Yes.
And two local philanthropists chunked out like $20 million to make it happen. Like we had a pretty strong reputation from a philanthropic perspective in Charlotte, but I feel like people have started, holding back. Someone else can do that. That's someone else's job. But we need to stick our neck out for the community to make it better. We can't rely on some ethereal being that is the city of Charlotte to improve itself. We need to make those investments as Charlotteans, as people that love this community. And we could use a little less of all the hot takes, honestly. I'm a hot take king. I'm well known on Twitter for, saying what I want to say and need to say.
Yeah.
But like I do it constructively, and I try to add a solution. If you're gonna call out a problem, talk about what could make it better.
Yeah.
So,
And that's one of the things that, honestly, from afar, that I've really appreciated about you. That it's not. I see a lot of people drop a hot take and then leave, and like you're actually you're open to the discourse, but not just that, but you're also doing something about it in our community, and whether it's in your neighborhood with Charlotte-Mecklenburg County, like you're actually doing things. So like when you drop a take, it's like, this isn't probably because he had a bad afternoon. Like this is coming from somebody who's like, who cares and is paying attention to it. So I do agree. I wish more people took more care with the words that they use and how they describe things. So like when I see like Charlotte food sucks, I'm like, how how many James Beard semifinalists and finalists we have in the city? And it's like, oh, you went to 5 places in one type of food category and have you been to Stagione's? I haven't met anybody who's been, and it's like, oh yeah, that place is like trash. It's like, how many places like that exist in our city but you just went to 5 and now you think that we've been here 5 years. Most of the restaurants you just listed, we have not eaten at. And we go to a lot of restaurants. How can you just say there's not? And I agree. That's less hot takes.
well, it is, Charlotte is 306 square miles. San Francisco is 65. Manhattan is like 22. Like, there is a ton of different places to explore in Charlotte, and we're never going to be able to eat at every single one of the restaurants. So, whenever I saw someone on Threads. I'm never on Threads.
Threads has become a place for me.
Really?
Man. I got off Twitter back in high school. Threads, though, it's kind of a weird place
It
sometimes.
is. The algorithm is super funky. But they were like,
Yes.
what else is there to do in Charlotte besides Camp North End? I was like, you found Camp North End and you can't find anything else? Like you're sniffing in the right place. Just keep sniffing, keep looking. You're gonna find it. But also, here's something great that's going on at the Mint Museum. So
Yeah, and not just that, the other one I've been seeing on threads is Charlotte's boring. And I'm like, you just don't leave the house. It's like, because let me
Yeah.
tell you, when we're here, somehow there's so many weekends that we would go into with no plans by Thursday, and come Friday night now, and then we're looking back Sunday night. It's like, whew,
yeah.
that was
I
a
wish
weekend.
it was boring.
Like, it's not.
My life is hectic sometimes because it's so not boring.
Which is what you want. I
Yeah.
think people just need to come in here, and this goes back to the great point you made earlier. Charlotte is Charlotte. Charlotte isn't any of these other cities where fun means high energy, lots of crowded people, go, 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 go. That is not how fun is defined here in Charlotte. Sometimes it's a small little, it's a coffee shop in the morning that's got a DJ and there's 40 people in there. That is fun. Sometimes it's just a Charlotte Knights game. Sometimes it's a lantern festival. Like, there is fun in Charlotte every weekend of the year. And there's so many people who talk about it, from the influencers we have to Axios, all these different platforms that share these things. It's like, Charlotte isn't, if it's boring, it's because you're boring and your interests are limited.
Amen. Have you been to Lorem Ipsum before in Plaza?
No, I've been really wanting to go. I've heard a lot of good
So
things. That's a
they're-
listening bar, right?
Yes, their gallery openings there. I was in that tiny little space with probably 200 people celebrating Carla Erin Lopez.
Yes, yeah.
And like one of her shows opening up, and walk in there and tell me how 200 people fit in there. I still don't know to this day. Hopefully the fire marshal's not listening. But like, there's so many cool things that sometimes might be a little gate kept, and I think we need to make sure we're not gatekeeping what's great.
Yeah, their friends, Michaela and Damon Wesley and TJ were all out here. So FOMO that I referenced earlier, I had no idea what to expect. A Wednesday night, a free ticket. We're in the Mint, the Gant, the Beckler. Like, I'm like, okay, how cool can this actually be? And it was like people were out here on a weekend. And it was one of the most fun nights in 5 years that I've had in Charlotte. And I was like, yeah, this is really one you don't want to miss on a Wednesday night. And people prioritize it. I'm like, I don't know how you move here and experience that on a Wednesday and say the city is boring. Like, that was such a fun night. And you partner with them, with the Mint. Can you talk about that event? There's another one coming up on the 17th.
Yep, September
Okay, can you
17th.
talk about that some?
Yeah, so we're still kind of ironing out details for
Okay.
that, but this in September, so this is around CIAF. The last one we did was around Charlotte Shout. So we try to celebrate the ending of an exhibition in some way by, throwing a party and, just if people miss out on it, well, they got the FOMO. So we're going to have Latin dance and we're going to have Latin dance classes. For FOMO, it's going to be
Ooh.
pretty solid.
Ooh.
I got a nice preview on it, on a preview of it on Saturday. We had a Kaleidoscope Community Day for the show that is the FOMO will be celebrating the ending of Kaleidoscope.
Okay.
But we did Latin dance, and there was like 50, 60 people right here in this corner doing Latin dance and learning how to do salsa and how to do tons of other dances.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing that, but on a much larger scale than 50 people. I figure we'll probably have a couple thousand people come
I think
through.
it was like 3,000 the last time.
And we are expanding it out. We're going to have bars on Tryon and on Levine Avenue. We're going to do a couple of partnerships with other bars around here just to make sure, because not everyone could get a drink, because it gets a little, when you have that many people in here, it is a little hard to move.
It was difficult, but I don't think anybody was really complaining. Everybody was having a good time.
It was a fantastic time. So.
Well, my wife is going to roll her eyes when I say this. I would like to be at FOMO. We fly out for Italy the next day.
Oh, really?
So we'll see if I make it out, but I absolutely do want to go, because it was so much fun. But you partner with them because you're here at the Mint, and I want to understand. I've done my Googles on you, my research. What has your journey been? You talked about leaving. I know you spent some time in Savannah. You talked about New York. What has your journey been to come back to Charlotte at this point in your life, but then also to be employed to work at such an institutional museum in our city.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this was my goal. I mean,
Really?
yeah, when I lived in New York, I had great jobs. I worked with huge brands, like working in out-of-home advertising, experiential, and transit. Like and even when I was working in the fashion industry, I was working with some of the biggest brands in the world, and like that was great. But like I couldn't really make any change in my community,
Yeah.
and that was my number one goal. And Charlotte's always been incredibly important to me. Uh, Born and bred here. When I left for New York, I could only see a glimmer of my place in Charlotte because I was like, I want bigger, better things. I've traveled the world a little bit as an 18-year-old, pipsqueak, and when I went off to Savannah, like I saw the built environment. And when I went to New York, I saw what a city was like to live in. But the day I left for New York, you know, I had the opportunity to be one of the first riders on the Blue Line, and I was riding down through what is now where Suffolk Punch is,
Yeah.
and looking at it, and I was like, wow, what a blank slate. This whole area is going to change so much while I'm gone. And I kept keeping my eye here, keeping my eye here, keeping my eye here, and then started writing about Charlotte about 2014, 15 for Charlotte Agenda, for Charlotte 5, for a couple other places. And I just started keeping an eye on Charlotte. Um, but so that journey then took me to starting CLT development, which I started CLT development as a place where I could share my God honest opinion, because that didn't always fly with Charlotte Agenda or Charlotte 5 or whomever.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a place where I could do that, but I also wanted it to be a place where I could get in people's offices, where I could network, where I could meet people, where I could build my tent of people. And then once 2020 came around, that really ramped up, because I wasn't just in people's offices, I was in people's boardrooms. I was trying to, make sure that when I came back to Charlotte, ultimately, that I would be known the day that I came here. So managed to create a great network, a great following, and just be able to learn who the movers and shakers are. Like I said earlier, so many different people in Charlotte are accessible if you just ask. Like, you can't be afraid to ask, because if you know that you are good at what you do,
Yeah.
you could convince someone of that as well.
Absolutely.
And they are absolutely happy to open the door. So when I landed at the Mint, it was, me busting my butt in, the marketing industry, on social media, in the design world, and just continuing to network and meet people and put together a group of people that believed in me so that I could come in here and do the same. Because ultimately my goal here is as much for improving the community of Charlotte as it is uplifting artists and making sure that people in Charlotte have something really awesome to do, whether that be a party like FOMO, or whether that be just quietly walking around in a gallery and seeing what, some of humanity's most incredible and beautiful objects. Art is about ingenuity, art is about creativity. It's about, expressing yourself. So, I want people to come here, be able to express themselves in any way that makes them happy.
Yeah. Man, that is, I'm like caught up in that. Thank you. That is awesome.
For sure.
The couple things that you dropped in there that I want to go back to. One, I feel like a lot of people that know you now, and I think I was having this conversation with someone recently of like social media and how like people think like this notoriety or fame comes quickly. And like your story is such a perfect picture of what I describe to people, that it's like the quickly is rare, like very rare. People like you are putting in work. Like, you're showing up in boardrooms, you're networking. So when get to this point, it's not because you lucked into it or you got lucky a few times. Like, you actually had a plan to get to where you are now and have been working your butt off to get there. So one, I just want to commend you, because that is, to me, the way things are supposed to be done. Not taking shortcuts, not trying to make these networks or meet these people to get a leg up and cut the corner, but for the real, authentic, genuine relationship. So that way, hopefully, you get to be a part of making change with these people and not just, oh, I know this person, like I can call them. It's like, no, no, this is someone that knows I'm probably going to push back on whatever idea their business has because I have a different opinion on how it affects this neighborhood or the city.
Hmm.
And I just think that's so important. And I wish more people held on to that and understood that it takes work to get to the place where you have a platform that's respected.
Yeah.
Sure, you have your takes on what you feel strongly about, but I don't think most people are writing you off because they're like, he's put in the years. Like he gets to, like, I'm not always about like earning your stripes, but you've earned your stripes to be able to say these things. When people haven't earned their stripes, that's where I'm like, this is lazy. Like you're taking the shortcut, or you haven't earned the right to get to do this. I think that's really awesome that you've arrived, or you're arriving at this place that you've set out to get to for a long time. And I think that makes our city better.
Thank you.
And then for the Mint, the arts world is one that I'll be honest, up until 8, 9 months ago was not one that I was very tapped into. And again, that talks about how big Charlotte is. You could be doing a ton of stuff over the weekends and never actually end up doing anything in the arts.
Yeah.
And then interviewing certain people, Jordan Dollard was like, from Front Sunday, she was like, you got to get out to the ballet. And I'm like, she was like, go. Like,
so
she's like,
cool.
you need to. And so my wife and I went this holiday. We're like, and we had a good time. Like, it was cool to be able to go out. I think we ended up like doing drinks or something afterwards. And it's like, that is a cool way to experience Uptown, to experience the arts. Michaela Benter and makers and creators and things like inviting me, and now I'm meeting her friends and people in her circle. And it's like, art is everywhere in our city, and I didn't realize it. And if you're not someone who like craves art, maybe it doesn't always hit you over the head that like, hey, we're right here. But now my eyes have been open. I'm like, we have art stuff going on all the time. So when it comes to the Mint, what are some things that you would hope people understand about arts and the Mint here and other museums, but especially the Mint here?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I think one of the reasons behind things like FOMO and things like Charlotte 54, our Young Affiliates program, a lot of that is about introducing people to something that they might not even have thought they'd be interested in. Like, we have such a variety of exhibitions that happen here. Right now in our building, we have Annie Leibovitz. Annie Leibovitz is one of the most famous photographers that ever walked this earth, probably the most famous female photographer that ever walked this earth. She's photographed the most famous people that have walked this earth. You know, you walk upstairs, you could see pictures of Barack Obama, pictures of Steve Martin, pictures of the Queen, Beyonce. There's 504 photographs up there, and it's all highly relatable, because we're trying to bring people accessible things. Photography, every single person, well, not every person, but most people have the ability to take a picture on their phone.
Yep.
And that is an extremely accessible artwork or art form. So, you know, through the arts, I don't think people realize just how much of their life is based around it. When you got dressed this morning, which you look great, by the way.
Thank you.
You curated an outfit just like a curator of an arts exhibition would curate an exhibition.
Yeah.
You know, fashion is also one of those things that are extremely accessible. We have 13,000 fashion objects in our collection, which is one of the largest in the Southeast. That's one of those things that's not well known, because fashion is extremely hard to exhibit because it breaks down, it degrades.
Right.
So you can only do it for so long, for so many hours, with so much art, with so much light, and then you have to put it back in the box, have someone sew it back together, and do all of these different things. So art is about recognizing all the things in our life that is art. Street signs, for instance, like that is all graphic design. We're surrounded by brands and logos, and every single one of those things is creativity.
Yeah.
It is art. I think people don't quite realize just how much of their life is revolving around art, whether it be, you know, television shows or the theater or the ballet, like you were saying. So like taking those moments that you capture on TV and then experiencing them next door at the Blumenthal. So, I mean, art just just encompasses us, and I think that's super important. And when you step into an art gallery, it's not just like here to see beautiful things. You have the opportunity to be with yourself in a moment, looking at a piece and figuring out what that meant to that person, what that means to you. You can actually just stop and think and have a moment to yourself and relax and unwind and be mindful. And I think, art can offer you um, reprieve. It can offer you just a chance to slow down for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, FOMO, you're not slowing down. But you are having the moments where you can see, hey, oh, this place is for me. I belong here.
Yeah.
I want to come back here on another day. And I think that belonging is what's so important in the arts.
Yeah, my brother, I feel like would relate to a lot of what you say. I and again, the way we grow up can shape so much of who we are. My dad was that guy that on vacation, he's like, we always got to make sure we're doing something educational. So we'd end up in these random museums, and I was just like, I was more getting dragged there, so I didn't enjoy it as much. And, I'm like, and so I grew up with, and then we also lived near DC. And so my dad had this thing where if we had family from Nigeria that was coming in, because we're so close to the nation's capital, we have to go. But we're going to the same museum. So at a certain point, I could have given you a tour of the Smithsonian. Then I'm like, I've been here so many times, like this way to the Stones, dinosaur fossil. And so I don't have this appreciation. My brother, on the other hand, went to school in Maryland, right down the road from DC. And so that was something that he and his friends did as like a Saturday. And so now when we go visit places, we went to go see our buddy graduate in Philly. And my brother's like, oh, we had free time. And he's like, I'm gonna go to this museum. And I'm like, by yourself? He was like, yeah. I was like, do you know what's going on there? He was like, no, I'll just go figure it out. And it's like for all those things that you described that I feel like aren't me. And what I've had to realize is that sometimes, even if it doesn't give me the peace of mind, doesn't still my heart, doesn't make me think something deeper, maybe that's just not the best way for me to consume it. Doesn't mean I can't go support these artists who have put so much time into these things. When we're in Europe, there are some exhibits we went to, and like then I'm seeing things, and I'm like, okay, this is really neat. And like I feel like there are few things out there that have really taken my breath away. But what I'm realizing is I don't get to find the next thing that's going to take my breath away if I don't go to these places. Yeah. Like if I'm home all the time or never step foot in a museum, I'm never going to know here in this museum, I don't know what's the thing in here that could take my breath away. And like, so I rob myself of that. So I think it's cool to hear your passion about it. So clearly you're in the right job, because this is, I think, getting to know people talk about art. This is a passion most of them have for it. It's like art is for everyone. Yeah. Like art is everywhere in everything that we're doing. And so how you choose to consume it, supporting local artists, I think is also really, really big. But there's also art and music. Like a lot of people, it's been cool to get to know some of these DJs around the city that like take such pride in how they DJ sets. Like they really take it seriously. It's like, to me, that's as much art as painting on a canvas.
It is. It's all a composition.
Yeah. And so it's been cool to get to see how that is in our city, and it gives me a better appreciation for it. So at the Mint, is there specific things? I know you guys are free on Wednesday nights. What's your pitch to the people for the Mint?
Oh man, I mean, honestly, we have a tagline that is "Come intrigued, leave inspired," and I think that's really what I want to offer people. I mean, there's so many different things you can expect the unexpected here. We have a sneaker exhibition opening up in September. We have a skateboard deck exhibition opening up alongside it.
See that sneaker one? I'll be here for that.
Yeah. So, and that's going to be at Randolph. So we have our party in the park 6 months out of the year, which is free access at Randolph, food trucks, a band, all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, really, we always have something going on. And there's always something for everybody. You're talking about, you've been to exhibitions that you just didn't get. I've been to 3 or 4 of them myself. Heck, I went into the Met and I was like, wow, this is creepy. So there's always those moments that aren't going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
but it's always worth giving it a shot.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Beckler has incredible things. This is probably the most incredible year the Gant has ever had. There's been so many good shows as part of their 50th anniversary. You know, Charlotte has so much to offer, and
Yeah.
I don't want to just offer the Mint. I want to offer the city
Yeah.
to everyone to get out and do all the cultural things that maybe they didn't know about. Because the ballet, you watch people dancing and doing things with their bodies that you're like, how the hell did they do that?
I'd be broken.
I'd be broken too. God, I'm sore from dancing at one of our parties this weekend. So, you know, just like I said earlier, stick your neck out,
Yeah.
invest in these places, and be a part of the arts community in Charlotte.
And this goes to my naivete, but you said Randolph. I did not realize till recently there's a Mint at Randolph as well. Is that
Yes.
just a smaller version or different exhibits, I'm assuming, there?
So that's the original
Okay.
building. So that building was moved there in 1936. Originally, it was in Uptown before it moved there. It was originally a actual U.S. mint. They minted gold coins there. So it was the second U.S. mint outside of Philadelphia, which we mentioned earlier. So that was moved by a small group of women that wanted to have a museum. So that became North Carolina's first art museum. So there we have, we do special exhibitions as well.
Okay.
But that's where our African art collection lives. We just reinstalled that recently based on provenance and researched all the objects in there and created a brand new exhibition around it.
Okay.
Our Mesoamerican collection, it's also where all of our decorative arts are, as well as our European art collection. So right now we also have a Santos de Palo exhibition, which is an incredible Puerto Rican folk art exhibition. And then we're on, you know, dozens and dozens of acres of parkland. So you can just, you know, have a picnic there, easy place to park. And then the museum's pretty fascinating. I've been going there since I was a little kid. My first homecoming was there, so I have tons of memories going back until I was probably 3 years old at Mint Museum Randolph. So, and I'm 40 now, so
Man,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
All right, so going from Mint, Charlotte Development, this is where I first got to know your name and your takes and your passion for the city. What do you hope? What is there an end goal for Charlotte Development? Are you living the goal right now? What do you hope Charlotte Development comes, and what do you want to continue to do with it?
I think I'm living the goal a little bit,
Okay.
but I do have a few other things that I do kind of on the side, just like from a business development standpoint, making sure people are getting connected to each other. You mentioned Michaela Benta earlier. She's a creative catalyst.
Yes, she is.
So
Her
that's-
episode is coming out very soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. So it's kind of like her. A lot of what she does is connecting.
Yep.
I almost call her a conduit. Also, Carla Aaron Lopez.
Yes.
I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to her
I've
yet.
been this far from her and just haven't had a chance to shake her
Yeah.
hand yet, but I know who
So,
she is.
Yeah, like people in the communities that are conduits, like that is the ultimate goal for me for CLT development, knowing people, knowing who's doing cool stuff,
Yeah.
making sure they get connected to other people that are doing cool stuff, but also trying to consult on things, help brands grow, help brands create marketing strategies that will make them successful in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And also just to help even developers understand what the community is actually looking for. Because a lot of times people will go in, build a building, create their social media so that it's just talking to their prospective tenants, when in fact they need to be talking to their neighbors as well.
Yep.
So, being an advocate for neighborhoods and being an advocate for creating a better built environment in Charlotte, like that's the ultimate goal for CLT development.
Okay.
So I don't know how to monetize any of that. Occasionally I do, but it's just kind of like what I'm trying to do is
Yeah.
make this community better, and that's the number one goal.
I know you sometimes get to break new things going on in the city. Is there one that you are very excited to break? Like, is there one that you're like, I can't believe I got to break this? Like, do you have one?
Oh man.
Or a couple? Like, if you
Yeah.
got like a couple of them that you're like, and excitement could be because you're excited it's happening, or I
Yeah.
can't believe this is happening. Anything that you look back and like, can't believe we got to break
Gosh,
that.
it's really hard because I have been involved in probably in some way, shape, or form, like half of the things that have been, uh, announced development wise over the last 10 years.
That's
So,
insane.
because like either I've helped, write something, be part of something, been the source of something. Like I've been the source of news stories for probably 12 or 13 years in Charlotte because I've created so many relationships. I know how all of the systems work. I
Yeah.
know how to find the information. I don't know what my favorite would be. Um, Honestly, I know what my favorite would be if it actually happened, and that would be if the epicenter would ever come back to some sort of glory. If that could happen, and I could be the person to
To break
to
that,
break that,
that'd be
that would be awesome.
okay.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discourse on Threads about that. The epicenter too. It's called, what is it called now again?
Queen City Quarter, I think.
Yeah, that's
Something
right.
like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, something banal and absolutely characterless. I don't know, man. I
Get it
think
off your chest,
I
Clayton.
know
Get it
how
off
to
your
I know
chest.
how to fix that place. Actually, I don't because I know what was wrong with it in the first place, and that was it's just really badly designed.
Oh.
Like there's no fixing it because there's so little ingress and egress. You can't leave. You get funneled in. Like it's not a great spot. But if someone could figure out how to make it work and make it work for Uptown Charlotte, like that would be the best.
That is one that people talk about that I completely missed.
Yeah.
Because by the time we got here, Epicenter was no more. So I know nothing about it. All I get to hear is, "Oh, you don't know when," or "back in our day," and I'm like, "Guys, it was like 7 years ago. Like COVID was only 5. It wasn't that long ago."
Yeah.
But like, and sometimes I joke that sadly, Epicenter might just be the girlfriend we just need to let go. Like, she might not be coming back, and we might just need to move on and figure out how to better ourselves without her, because I don't know if she's coming back. And
you know-
it's a sad thing.
And something just occurred to me. It's actually in thinking of something that I made go viral, that I made go crazy. It has to be the Make 277 a River movement, the hashtag Make 277 a River. The fact that it's been covered by like tons of magazines, that it had a full page spread and a front page cover with Charlotte Magazine.
I feel like I have seen that one
Yeah.
before, because I remember I first saw it and I was like, "This is satire, right?" I was like,
And it was always satire, but people definitely treated it like it was an honest to God thing I was trying to do.
I laughed when I saw it because I'm like, all right. That's the other thing I'm realizing. People on social media sometimes don't understand satire. I'm like, context is important. So like, if you're not sure, go back to that person's page and like actually read through some of the things they say in posts, and then you'll figure out like if they're being dead serious or it's a joke. So I remember seeing that. I'm like, okay, I get the humor in that. Like,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
And I mean, and the goal of that really was just to get people to look at 277 as an opportunity, not just like this scar of an interstate on our urban environment. So, and it worked, but a lot of people took it literally, and a lot of people created renderings, including myself. So,
Of the river.
of the river.
So are we all getting boats or canoes, or like do we have water taxis now to
Yeah,
get up
yeah,
and down?
We could do that.
Okay. You talked about, again, one of the things that I really appreciate about you is that you're not, like you said, you're looking for a solution, not just problems. So very passionate about transit, which I do quickly want to hit on. But the planning committee, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Planning Committee that you're a part of, why your involvement, what are they doing, and if you could just talk about a little bit about that, because I'm sure you know the name Manolo. He was speaking at, I forget what he was speaking at, but he invited us. We had an episode out with him, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm going to be speaking, telling my story, advocating for immigrants," and we were like, "Sure." So we went, and I think it was the first real civic thing I've done since I've been here. and we didn't speak. Like, we were just there supporting someone, and like sometimes that's also important, like supporting the people doing the work. And so it's just something that I'm trying to pay more attention to, of what's going on in our city. I know there's a lot right now about a tax on another sales tax, that there's a lot of discourse about. And so I'm just curious to know your involvement in that, the civic world of Charlotte.
Yeah, so Planning Commission, recently I went from the zoning committee to the planning committee. So for the last 2 years, I was on the zoning committee, which means I voted on all rezonings that happen in the city of Charlotte. So we look at them from a land use perspective, we basically created a matrix, tree save, stormwater, all that not sexy stuff.
Yeah.
We're looking at it completely objectively from like a neighborhood impact standpoint, and then deciding whether it should be approved or not. Based on the UDO, which the Unified Development Ordinance, was kind of our guidebook,
Okay.
looking at things from the perspective of what the comprehensive plan by the city was, kind of where the city wants things to go, and then looking at through the lens of those items, and then deciding whether things should be approved. So with the planning committee, it's about approving land acquisitions, being kind of the stewards of the comprehensive plans for the city of Charlotte,
Okay.
and like making sure things go forward.
Okay.
So, and then from a transit advocacy,
Yeah.
stepping to that portion, the referendum is indeed coming up in November around a 1 cent sales tax. So that 1 cent sales tax is to raise about $19 billion to improve transit in Charlotte, which would include building a red line, a silver line, expanding the gold line, expanding the bus lines, and also spending quite a bit of money, I think $6 billion-ish on roads and making improvements in Charlotte. That sales tax would bring us from 7.25% to 8.25%, which is basically us going from 87th in the country for sales tax, along with 14 other cities, to 47th in the country, along with 16 other cities.
Okay.
So that would be basically taxes on all things except for basically fresh foods and a couple other things,
Okay.
like vegetables, meat, things like that. It's going on the referendum in November, and I've been part of trying to push it actually forward. I spoke at County Commission last week in favor of it. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's not the best way to do things, but unfortunately we live in what is called a Dillon Rule state, which means the state basically gives us our rights as a city, and we have to petition them to expand those rights. So the referendum that we are going to be voting on is because the state passed what is called the PAVES Act to allow us to go to referendum for this. So
Okay.
that will establish a Mecklenburg County basically transit authority. I think it's MCPTA or something on Mecklenburg County.
I did see something about that, and I could also, this was very quickly, so I haven't gotten to read into all of it, but there was something about that where that committee or it maybe isn't accountable to, or is or isn't accountable to the voters?
No, I guess really it isn't. I mean, so there will be 27 different commissioners that are actually appointed from all over the state and all over our region, as well as transit riders,
Right.
and no elected officials are allowed. So there's like a strict guidelines for who can actually be on it.
Which
So-
I think was part of the discourse, is that we vote on this, and I'm again, this is something I'm still reading on, so I'm not in favor either way yet. But it was something along the lines of like they're not accountable to the voters, but they get to make decisions that affect the voters. Is there a reason that elected officials wouldn't be allowed on it, or?
Well, I mean, I think while they're not beholden because they're not necessarily elected, I think they're what the voters have, what city councils have, what our city manager and town manager, like they're still going to, or county manager, they're still going to be very involved in the process.
Okay.
Like, we're going to need to move forward as a city.
Yeah.
We can't just make decisions like willy-nilly. And, there's going to be a ton of accountability from the state. They're going to be really following along behind this. And we're going to have to report out how we're spending $19 billion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All of this has been one of the most enlightening conversations I've had because you are such a wealth of knowledge about our city. What are some things, though, on this journey of loving the city, advocating for the city, being a part of the change, being a voice for the change? What are some things that you are learning at this point about our city, but also about yourself throughout this whole journey?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm learning that we need to break down more barriers in Charlotte. I have experienced a lot of different small businesses that have either closed quickly or not ever been able to open because so much money is spent on the front end of opening a business in the city of Charlotte. That's one of the things that I'm most passionate about. We need to make it easier for small businesses. We don't just need affordable housing, we need affordable businesses. I was at a city council meeting a while back for an affordable housing project in the Belmont neighborhood, and one of the neighbors came in and said, "Hey, we have the majority of the affordable housing in the city. We need affordable places for people to start brick and mortar businesses. That's what this land should be." So we need to make it easier for people to start their own thing in Charlotte.
Absolutely.
That's the number one thing I've learned. And learning about myself, God, I never thought I'd be putting on the advocacy hat. I
Really?
wanted to be an architect and like I wanted to do this and that, but then I started to see all of the barriers and all the difficulties. So I was like, you know what? I want to speak out for people.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be in the discourse. I want to be in the zeitgeist. And that's not something I originally wanted to do. No one believes me, but I am a little bit of an introvert. Literally no one believes me. And I'm shy. I'm socially awkward.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't say all that.
no, well, I know.
I
That's
wouldn't
how I
say-
feel I am. But it's like I didn't ever think that I would be in this position talking with people. But I love doing it.
Yeah.
So
Our city is better because you are here doing those things. And I would make the argument that you are still an architect of people and connections and maybe just not structural buildings.
Yeah.
But those people and connections lead to structural buildings. So you're still an architect, just probably not the way you envisioned it at the beginning.
Build brands and build community.
Exactly,
So, yeah.
exactly. I like to think that we build community in what we do, and so it's like I never would have been a real architect, numbers and math, and I did enough math to make sure I got through college. So that is not something that, and if you wanted me to draw something, a house, you're gonna get a box. It's gonna be the square, the triangle. You're not getting the wraparound portion, nothing. You're gonna get a box.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still an architect in a way, and it's art. Like what you do is still art, and navigating these relationships and these people, and kind of if our life was a canvas or one of those things where you put like a pin in it, you started to tie the rope. At a certain point, you've created this web, Clayton's web of people and connections, and you start to trace those connections to the ones other people have made or taken nuggets or advice or help consulting or whatever it is from you to other places, like your fingerprints all over the city. And I don't think a lot of people get to say that. I don't think a lot of people get to say that and then also have a voice that's respected, whether they like the opinion or not. Because I think that's a different level of respect. It's not like, oh, we respect you because they're always right. It's like, I might disagree, but I still respect that this is an informed opinion. What message do you have as someone with disconnected in the city? What message do you have to the people about the city of Charlotte, about arts, about the museums, about all the things that you're transit, about all the things that you're passionate about? It could be a couple of nuggets, but what are those takeaways that you want people to really feel your passion about?
Love your city. Just love your city. Invest in your city. Invest in your neighbors. Invest in your favorite places. Go there. Be part of it. just be part of making Charlotte a better place, because it does not do it on its own.
Amen to that. And on that note, where can the people find you outside of the Mint Museum?
You can follow me at CLT Development. That's the best way to do it. That's Twitter, sort of.
X?
I only, when I happen to have a laptop in front of me, I deleted it off my phone because it has gotten a little toxic on that app, to
It's
say
been
the
toxic
least.
for a while.
Yeah, and then CLT Development, and then also I have a farming page on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, it's Caldwell Acre Farm CLT.
Well Acre Farm.
Caldwell Acres.
Caldwell Acre Farm CLT.
Yep.
And then if you want, because you're starting your podcast soon, do you want to drop the names of these podcasts so people can find them?
I'm starting a podcast with Tesho Akindelli of Camp North End fame and formerly of MLS fame. And him and I are starting a podcast called Charlotte Walks, where we'll be talking about the built environment. For the first season, really heavily talking about the transit referendum, bringing together the voices that are for, against, the people that are creating the plan, people that are making mobility happen in Charlotte, whether it be from road perspective, whether it be from the bike lanes, bringing together people to talk about the economic development impacts of transit, as well as how transit moves people, what different modes are, like what the whole purpose of this transit plan is.
Yeah.
And then also bringing the business community together to find out why they are investing in transit-friendly places and why that is important to them.
Okay. So, I mean, that'll be a great way for people who are unsure of how they're going to be voting to get opinions from both sides, and probably more discourse, like a little bit like we're having here, to unpack that from something that, like, a lot of people probably would just show up to the ballot and they're like, I'm not sure, quick Google,
Yeah.
sure, first thing that popped up, yes, no. And so this is a great way for people to get a more informed opinion.
And while, like I said, I spoke out for it at council, I am still in like the 60% yes camp, because there's still a lot of things that I don't agree with. But I know with my voice and my platform that should it move forward, I can, one, make sure that I'm, or at least try to make sure I'm on the authority, and two, use my platform and voice to try to push it in a way that will be equitable, usable, and be an actual, true, honest to God investment, and impactful investment in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So.
And then the other podcast, is that one? Can you tease that one?
Well, we're working on something for the museum.
Okay.
So hopefully we can launch something. We brought. We want to bring all of the art community together to talk about what's going on here, and that's what's important. And we are lucky to have hired Ramona Holloway this year. She used to be on the Matt Ramona show for over 20 years. She's got a hell of a resume from a radio perspective. So working with her and getting some of her guidance and also her voice, I think will be super important.
Okay.
But that one is a little more off in the future with Charlotte Walks. That's got to happen soon because the referendum's in November.
This is super random, but the last name, is he Nigerian?
The last name. Wait.
Tash.
Yes, he is Nigerian.
Okay.
Sorry, Akindelli. Yeah, he is Nigerian.
I heard it, and I'm like, he's got to be Nigerian. There's certain letters that get put together, and I'm like, that's my tribe. I know. Just there's literally certain things that it's like, okay, that's the next tribe over. People are like, really? I'm like, yeah. Like, for example, my parents' alphabet does not have a Z, like our language. So if I hear you're Nigerian and there's a Z, I know you're Igbo tribe, because Yoruba tribe doesn't have a Z.
Yeah.
Like, they do a lot of Igbo tribe will do like CH or K's, like really hard K's in the middle of the names. Yoruba tribe doesn't do like the CH. The K's are oftentimes going to be at the beginning of names. So it's a random tidbit for you.
Yeah, he's Canadian, and I think if I remember correctly, his father is Nigerian.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, Clayton, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate your time, your perspective. Again, getting someone that I followed for a long time, getting to see it and have this interaction in person. This is a perfect example of someone who cares and has issues and doesn't think our city is perfect, but is actually doing the right thing about it. It's not just threads. It's not the Instagram, Charlotte's boring or nothing's going on, but someone who's putting on the gloves, getting dirty, doing the work to make our city better. And these are the type of people and the type of stories that we care about sharing here on Queen City Unleashed. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your time. What an honor to get to shoot in the Mint Museum, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.